Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Vince. Today I want to share with you on the book Jesus and the Powers by N.T. Wright and Michael Bird. Let me jump right in and then I will offer a little bit of my opinion on the book in case anyone cares. This is a shorter video. I'm going to try to summarize the book in 5 minutes or less. If you enjoy the video or want to engage with the book more, I do have a longer video on my channel. And if you enjoy this video, please like it, possibly even subscribe to my channel if you like videos like this. You would be surprised at how much your likes and subscriptions can mean to a YouTube creator. So the basic thrust of the book is to explore the question, how should Christians interact with government? And the answer, to give it away right off the bat, is that they feel that Christians should indeed be involved in government, but that they should be on the side of loving everyone and of justice for all, especially the poor and the oppressed. I think they did a very good job in talking about such touchy subjects, especially here in America, where everything inspires debate, and all you really want to hear is, do you support the Republicans or the Democrats? And I think they do a good job of avoiding an answer to that, or really in giving an answer, which is, we support Jesus. The book starts off by saying that Christians have always been involved in government, or you might say empire. Judaism started off by being oppressed by empire in Egypt and then trying to build up their own empire with their monarchy and being an oppressive empire, talked about by the prophets, and then being destroyed by other empires. Jesus was born into an oppressive empire, and then the first Christians carried that on until eventually they became the empire after Constantine. So the question is, like, we are already involved in empire, or at least empire is forced upon us, so how do we interact with that empire? So let's look at their answer to this question. Should we even be involved in empire, in politics? Here's two answers that I get from the book. One is that, yes, it has always been God's plan for us to be involved in government. God made the earth and put human beings over the earth, however human beings fell. So however you read that story in Genesis, whether you see it as a literal fall or not, we can say humans started working for themselves to acquire their own power. And that's not God's plan. After the fall, God's plan is to bring all things back to God's self. The problem is, of course, that human beings live in sin and they get in God's way. This is partially what Jesus' death on the cross does. It gets rid of that sin, or it atones for it, so that now we are free to work for the kingdom and not for ourselves. So yes, it is our responsibility to get involved in politics and government to work and build the kingdom, is how they put it. Two things to say about that phrase, because that's kind of important to them. Build the kingdom. Because we're not bringing the kingdom to earth. Like, in their opinion, there needs to be a realization that we cannot make the kingdom on earth. Too many movements have done that, but it's a failure. We do not bring the kingdom, we work for it, and God eventually brings it. Another thing to mention is that the Bible indicates, especially in Romans 13, that we're to follow earthly authorities because God establishes earthly authorities. And sometimes this is taken to mean that we should never rebel against them. The way Wright and Bird deal with this is to say that since God is our true ruler, we are permitted to rebel against earthly authorities if they are based on sin or not based on loving and bringing justice to all. So if you have two competing kingdoms, you are in the kingdom of God. So that's one answer to this question. The question, if we are Christians, should we get involved in government? A second answer is that Christianity is already involved in government, meaning that the whole notion of caring for the less fortunate or loving others is deeply rooted in our culture. And this was done because of Christianity. Like, before Christianity, people didn't think like that. So one of the answers that I got from the book was, you are involved just by being a Christian and loving others. Basically, you're involved in government just by how you act. In the last couple of chapters of the book, they talk about what kind of governments they're against and what kind of governments they are for. Christians, in their opinion, should reject approaches to government that involves oppressive totalitarian regimes, such as fascism or communism. They should also reject Christian nationalism and extreme progressive ideologies. To be sure, Marxist and communist theories look on the surface a lot like Christianity. For instance, there's a desire to serve everyone and to share with everyone. The problem is, as far as Bird and Wright are concerned, they don't take into account that the leaders are just as sinful as the ones they're trying to govern. The problem with Christian nationalism, on the other hand, is that you exclude everyone who's not like you. The more people who are included, the better. The authors then describe what they think is the most Christian approach to government, and that is liberal democracy. There's a number of reasons for this, but they can really all be summed up in that they value all people and make avenues to limit power of oppressors. The authors maintain that liberal democracy is one of the most notable achievements of human civilization, and that it could not have been done without Christianity and Christian values. So that's my summary of the book. I'll give you just a couple of things that I thought about that, and if you'd like to, you can go watch a more in-depth video, and I talk about the books and the book and the chapters an awful lot more in depth, and also give you my opinions or my gleanings an awful lot more. But really, kind of in summary, I had the positive of the book, I thought, was that it kind of pushes this ethic of Christians should be about love. Like, that's what we should do. Everything that we do and everything we say, everything is measured by how much we are loving one another. And so I thought that was a very good positive about the book. The negative about the book is I think they introduced a lot of things, but they didn't really explore it or take it far enough. Now, in their defense, they do kind of say that at the beginning, that this is really just to kind of start the discussion. But even in this, with this ethic over here, well, exactly how do we measure things by love? Like, do we count people and say, hey, this action is going to be loving for the most, out of 100 people, this one's going to serve 51 people, and that's how we pick that option, or this option is loving for 75% of people. And do we take into account? They talked about loving the poor. Do we take that into account? Like, well, poor people count 2 times as much as rich people. I feel like that could have been explored more. Another thing is that they talk about how we should respect everybody's opinion. But surely there are issues out there like slavery, right? Like, do we really need to respect everybody's opinion when it comes to something like slavery? Do we really need to sit down at the table and say, hey, I understand you like to own human beings, right? And let me hear what you have to say about that. Or should we just say there are some issues where we don't need to respect everybody's opinion? All right. If you like the video, again, like the video, and have a good day.